Good morning. It is February 12th, about quarter to 11. Got around a little bit later today, but I swung by Rogers and now I'm at the county and applied for our septic expansion permit. And I'm not very happy in the fact that they've already been out there and approved it for 2-bedroom. I'm just adding one more bedroom, and they're making me wait the standard 4 weeks that it took them to go out to inspect in the first place. So I'm not quite sure why they're doing that. I hope they can redeem themselves and come through a lot quicker than that, because until I get that expansion permit, I cannot apply for the building permit, which I'm ready to do for the accessory building. So she said maybe they'll be able to do faster because they've already been out there. I sure hope so. I don't know what else there is to do. You could talk to the guy that inspected it, who's in the office all the time, and I've seen him there a couple times. So I'm a little bit frustrated with that, as you can tell, because I'm ready to get on this. I don't want to wait another month just for an inspection on something that's already been done. So I hope they come through and shorten that time period. So anyway, I am going to head out to the property. It's rained some yesterday, so we didn't go out, and it's rained all night and still sprinkling now. It's supposed to kind of sprinkle through the whole day. So it's going to be almost not workable. But I want to go out and check the trees and make sure they haven't fallen over, make sure everything's getting the water that it needs, and just check up on the place and make sure everything's good. Right, guys, I got out to the property. It looks like we've gotten enough water to soak down and get to that concrete I have down there, or cement, whatever. I'm happy about that. I think it's pretty crazy how even when it rains, the smoke is still coming out of, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. There's a little bit of smoke still coming out of my burn pile down there. That's crazy after all the rain that we had the last 2 days. Well, that's cool, it's still burning. Whatever's smoldering down there, it's still burning stuff up. Alright, came to look at the pads. I came out here to the property, obviously, and it looks like the water is just gathering all at this end of that pad. I don't know if it doesn't even look like it's flowed out of these pipes. Let's see. I feel like it didn't rain as much here as it did at our place. No water. All right. And come over here and look at the pad for the big house. It's got its usual puddles. So much for the hay. I mean, it would have worked better if I would have stuck the building on this, probably. Main reason why I came out here was to check on the trees, make sure they hadn't fallen over, because it gets windy out here. Just want to make sure nothing blew over. In fact, they blew over when I was here, a couple of them. So looking good though. Nothing fell over. Everything's standing up. Looks like they all got some rain. So that's good. Everything's looking good back here. Tarp's still on their plywood. Everything's dry. Oh, let's see these my stakes for the little nursery are looking good. Awesome. Alright, I don't usually come out here and check on things after a rain. I just don't come out, but I really want to check on these trees and make sure they were standing up. That was the whole reason why I put water or the soil in them before it rained, so they could get water and all that. So I didn't want that to all be waste and come out here and see half of them blown over. I left the lids off on these water totes too, and I wanted to see if they collected any water, and if they did, it was very negligible, which is to be expected. It didn't rain that hard, and on top of that, all I have is just the lids open, that small space on top. But at some point I'll get those in a position to catch water from the rain. All right, that was a short little day. I was only out here a little bit. Since I was at the county, though, it's not too far of a drive to come out here and check, so I wanted to check on things. So I'll see you guys next time I get out here. It's going to rain today, and I might not be out tomorrow since it's a muddy mess, so maybe a day or two, but I'll see you when I get out here. Good morning, everybody. It is February 15 at about 9:15 in the morning, and yesterday was Valentine's Day. And Val had that day off. So we spent the day together. Did not come out here to the property. Did some other stuff. But I'm back at it now. And first thing I'm going to be doing, I'm kind of spinning my wheels trying to figure out what I want to do today. But I got some grass seed that I'm going to use to just sprinkle on the sides of the hills to see if that anything will take off and kind of just give us control a little bit of the erosion. Two of these boxes, big boxes, are Diego and Niana's shed, so I'm going to throw that off over here. And then another big box here is that galvanized mesh fencing that I'm going to use over here on the little nursery area for the trees. So I'm going to just do one thing at a time and see what comes of everything. I got a lot on my plate. There's a lot that needs to be done. So I'm just going to figure it out as I go along and take you guys along with me. All right, let's get this done. All right, I decided to go ahead and work over here in this tree area because I want to get the trees protected. You know, I took this out of the box, the netting, and I wasn't too impressed how the poles were not that sturdy. Actually, the ones on that end are more sturdy than the ones on this end. These ones were still a lot of floppiness in them. I'm not sure why. Why these were less sturdy than those. So anyway, I had some stakes that I've been using for other things, and I just notched them with my, what was that called? A reciprocating saw or something like that. And it looks like, it's going to split the stakes over time if I pull on it hard. They're not impressive wood, but it does keep it from coming toward me. So I'm having those put on there so when I pull the netting around, it won't pull those in. I'll see if that works. My next challenge is, this is very heavy, and if I happen to have a nice 3 or 4 foot steel bar pole, I could just hammer that into the ground and stick this over it and on that hole and be able to pull it around. But I don't think I have anything like that. I'll look in the shed again real quick, but that's going to be my challenge, to manhandle that. We'll see how that goes. Okay guys, this is a challenging job to do by myself. I took the wrapping off. I thought it would like really spring loose and go all over the place, but luckily it didn't just unravel. I thought it was going to. Wrapped in these plastic strip things too, and for whatever reason I could have made it a lot easier on myself. I just cut the wire, but all this wire wrapped that to keep it from unraveling, and I thought, well, I could cut it all, just cut it and have a bunch of pieces, but for whatever reason I wanted to keep it in one long piece because then I can get maximum use out of it. I have a spool of wire, but I thought, why not use this wire that came with it instead of using up my nice little spool. So now the challenging part is going to come with me trying to pull this around. I could cut this in pieces, and I might have to if it ends up becoming too much work for me. but I'm gonna try to keep it in one big piece going all the way around and see if I can do that. If I can, that's ideal, because whenever I take it down and I need it for a different project, or if I do something, I don't have a bunch of individual pieces. But it would definitely be easier on me if I just did do two 10-footers and two 20-footers, which is approximately what this is. But anyway, I'm going to try to wrap it all the way around on my own. All right, we're making a little bit of progress. Whew, that's 200, I think that's 200 feet of mesh that I'm trying to roll around. So I went around the outside, and now I'm going to start with this side, tie it here to this post, and try to stand this up and go all the way around, and then be able to cut that at that end when it reaches that post, so that can be kind of our door. We'll enter at that end. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. That was not fun. All right, guys, I'm trying to squat here behind the sheds. It is so windy. Like I said before, I think in one of the last videos, I do not like wind. It's okay, a nice breeze, but I don't know why it's just whipping through here. Anyway, so I was a bit naive in my building this nursery thing for the trees. Obviously, it's hard to think things completely out if you've never done them before. I'm the type of person, I just start throwing stuff up and figure it out as I go and come back and fix it, or I've learned this time how to do it or what not to do. So this is it. And I didn't expect it to be pretty, and I knew it was going to be hard to wrap the thing around all these posts. But what ended up happening was, even though I sunk those posts, I don't know, they were over a foot deep probably, or a foot deep, I don't know. They're just not nearly strong enough to hold that tension. So I took these little stakes, I think I showed that in the beginning, and they basically cracked and are falling over and just not good. My goodness, it's windy. So then I have some taller stakes that I was going to use for when I formed footers and stuff like that in the foundation. Just put them up there to hold the stuff in place until I can get some more T-bar. Okay guys, I went and got the wireless mic. It's just so windy, I don't think you would have heard anything I said. And I don't know where I left off, but I'll just say I was a bit naive in the way I started this and did this. I thought the four corners would have worked fine, but it turns out I need more. So basically I want to get a couple of hooks to go here, in which I don't have, but I'll put a couple of hooks there and we can just undo that, and that will be the door. We can just open right here. I went and found two of my the old T-posts that I found buried in the dirt here. Hooked that one up. They're not as tall as these ones. Anyway, these stakes are not holding these straight up and down. They're bending over. So didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to. I think that if I get... you ever have one of those days you're kind of struggling? I couldn't get the wireless mic to work. Got it working. And as soon as I got going, my SD card ran out of memory. Luckily, I was prepared and had another one. But anyway, it's just been one of those off days a little bit for me. So anyway, I found, the T-post, I put it here. And I think that's going to support things well. And again, like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect or great or anything, actually. I just wanted it to look a little bit better than it did. And actually, now that I'm looking, I might put a couple of those stakes here just so animals can't push up from underneath. I don't know if we'll have a problem with animals trying to get underneath or not. Here they would not be able to get in because I put these little stakes to support that. So I guess what I'm going to do though for now is, the whole point of this was to put the trees in. So I think I am going to go ahead and put the trees in, and then next time I'm where there's T-posts, I'll buy a couple more. So yeah, that's how it turned out. I didn't record the process of me doing it because it would not have been, it might have been entertaining to see me struggle. But yeah, it was a little bit rough and just trying to figure out how things go. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the trees in now. All right, guys, I haven't used the tractor today, but I was gonna use it to move these trees, and then I thought it might kind of scuff they're gonna lean and whatever. And I bought this wagon a long time ago. Not a long time ago, like, I don't know, 6 months ago. We bought it to do our laundry at the cottages because we have to take it to the laundromat. And I bought it. Also, I justified spending the extra money because I was going to use it here on the property. But now that I have the tractor, it's been not used. It just sits, and we've put some stuff in it to kind of move a little bit of junk around, or to just throw junk in. But it's not really been used. Tires are low on it. I need to air them up. But today I'm able to use it for moving the trees. Not moving the trees very far. And I carried the first 2 trees. I thought this is going to take forever. So I think this was the right solution for that. It got really windy today, guys. When I came down, when I got off the freeway getting here, there was a cold pocket, I guess, like 32, and then, no, it was 37, I'm sorry. 37, and then I got to the property and it was like 41 or something. And now it's quite warm. I think this wind is bringing in the warm air, but we are supposed to be having kind of mild winter-like weather again. It was interesting how it was so cold. We were in the teens a lot, and 20s, 30s hit the high there for a couple weeks, and then rain came in and everything kind of warmed up, and we were actually having spring-like temperatures, it felt like. It was in the 60s quite a few days there, or high 50s, so it felt quite warm when you're used to the really cold weather. And now the wind's coming. But we are supposed to only be having highs in the 50s and lows in the 30s. So I would say we're getting back our mild winter weather. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and keep loading these up and moving them over. All right, so I decided I got this up, I might as well go ahead and get these grapes. So what do we got? We got 5 flame grapes and 5 Concord grapes. And I'm gonna go ahead and plant those in these 5-gallon bucket things. I brought over one of each soil basically, and I'm gonna just mix them in this bucket and just keep doing little bits instead of getting the tarp out and doing the big thing. Although 10 is quite a bit, so that might have been a good idea to do the tarp, but I just don't want to use that more than I need. All right, guys, I changed my mind. I did that one bucket and I was like, yeah, I wasn't really thinking that completely out. For the fact that that bucket's 5 gallons and these pots that I'm putting them in are 5 gallons. So maybe with the soil that already came with the grapevine in the bucket thing, maybe I would have been able to do 1.5. I started and I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't work. So I took the 1 bag of peat moss, 1 bag of manure, 1 bag of topsoil, the rest of the fertilizer, organic fertilizer, and a 5-gallon bucket of native soil, and mixed it all together. So
It's going to be a little bit different ratio than the fruit trees got, but should still hopefully be all right. I also am going to be working on trying to create some kind of a composting situation coming up here pretty soon so that I can at least have some of my own compost instead of buying it, and it'll just be healthy, good stuff. All right, guys, I'm changing up my plan a little bit. I finished planting the grapes, but I am moving that first row that's over there against the fence this direction, or just kind of moving everything and try to put it more toward the middle. I feel like some of these trees, like, I don't know if you can see this one right here, they might be a little too tempting to the deer. They're really close to the edge of the fence, and I feel like maybe being that close, the deer might try pushing in or putting their feet up on top of this or whatever and pulling it all down. So I'll take the temptation a little bit away. All right, guys, switched up jobs now, doing a little something different. What I'm doing is really probably not going to accomplish much, but I bought some grass seed, and I'm just going along here along the edge of where I smoothed this all out, and I'm just broadcasting it by hand. Just putting a light layer out here, see what it does. I sprinkled a little bit back here, and I sprinkled there on the dirt, but I'm not going to put anything here because that's going to be a privacy hedge anyway, and it wouldn't do me any good to put grass on it unless I want to go weed whack it, I guess, but probably never going to be able to mow that area. I'm just doing a little, pull up a little bit, grab handful. You can kind of see where it's windy, so it's kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. I'm sure this is 99% sure this is not how you do this. But I just wanted to get something on here, and if any of it grows, that'd be cool. Just a little bit of a help prevent erosion. So that's what we're doing right now. I got this whole strip all the way down to the pad there. All right, guys, I brought that grass seed back over to the shed. While I was over here, I was like, you know, every time it rains, I'm getting this stuff fills up with water. So I'm gonna put a little hole in each one. Oops. And that way this will drain. Right here I have, I don't know if you see that, that's the electric. That's the plug-in, and that had water going into it, so not that I use it, but come on, what's going on here? A little water there, perfect, that'll go draining out. A little hole there. I don't like that water collecting there. I actually throw a lot of stuff in there. I throw this camera in there, I throw my phone in there, and today I haven't been able to put it anywhere. It looks like there's actually a hole right there, but there it goes. Okay, it's draining. I guess this one already had a hole in it, but it was plugged, I suppose. check this other side out again. Yeah, this one had one in here, but didn't have this one. All right, cool. All right, so that's a little chore taken care of. I'm gonna go show you something that I just saw while I was broadcasting seed that I was shocked to see. All right, on February 10, I did that burn pile and burned a bunch of stuff. This is February 15. This is the day after Valentine's Day, and on top of that, we've had rain since then. This is still smoking. There's still fire going on in there, or like smoldering. It looks like most of that big root system stump burned up, hopefully. I'm gonna give this a push around and see what I find in here. Let's see what we got going on. Alright, well that's a stump still. Doesn't look like too much is going on with that. Of course, when I come from this angle is when the breeze just kicked up. They're starting to touch that hot pocket right there. I'm just going to go ahead and spread this out because it's a little bit worrisome that the thing's still going after 5 days in rain. I mean, it's good that it can burn everything up, but all right, there's all the, I guess, coals that were buried into there. Oh, I can feel the warmth. Oh, I can see the red. Wow, that's still quite warm. Still an active burn. I'm going to go ahead and scoop this up, put it up on stuff that needs to burn up. Wow, that should be all right. That's crazy. I think I'm actually going to give it a box scraper. Make sure we're not having anything too close to the grass here. Yeah, should be good. Well, I was thinking I was going to head home a little early today, but I'm going to stick around and see how this smoke goes for a minute. It is interesting, when I was down at the sheds, which are way down there, I was smelling smoke. I thought somebody else was having a burn pile, but it wasn't like a strong, not constant. I was like, that can't be me, can it? Then when I was broadcasting seed right there, I saw the smoke still going. That was crazy. The other thing that we figured out, what was that? Might have been on February 10. I think Val came out here and brought me food that day, right? I don't know, one of those days, February 10, 11, something. And she did some more dousing. And then I went along behind her, and my spot that I chose a long time ago originally ended up being, she started indicating on it, and wasn't hitting so hot on hers anymore. And she asked the dowsing rods to point at the well spot that was the best, and it started pointing at mine. Now, this is the first time it's done that. It's always pointed at hers, and mine will always pointed for mine. But I asked again too, and it pointed at mine. So we're going to go ahead. We were confused as to what to do, so we're just going to do this. To us, it's we needed to figure that out, and now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Something I'm going to have to do, I think I might do it tomorrow. We want to put an RV pad up here. Nia and Diego may decide to live right here in an RV while they build their house. They want to build on the property. If that happens, we're thinking right here, we'll smooth it out, clean this up, but leave privacy. But what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to trench a septic line all the way down to the accessory house, this first house. And this would be where the well is going to be, so it'll be going right by it. So I'm actually not going to trench here. And then I also called the well guy to ask his suggestion on the fact that we need to go from that well to the accessory house and then beyond that to the next pad for the other house. So I told him, asked him if it'd be okay if we could trench underneath this pad, because it'd be a real pain to go around this. So why not just come, we're going to start it right here. So, and I'm going to trench underneath our pad at least and have it coming out both sides for septic for the RV, and then also the pipes for the well water. And then I'm going to run conduit, because the well guy said he does not know what kind of wire I'll be needing, because he doesn't know how deep the well will be. He doesn't know what size pump we'll end up needing and all that stuff. So he said that wire could change. So I'm going to run like 1.5 inch conduit, and then we can fish it through whatever it ends up being, and then have that well line water going. I'll stop it right here probably and cap it, and then we can hook 2 up here after they've drilled. So this pad has caused a few issues in the fact that it seemed like great and that was the obvious choice of blah blah blah, but then there's all kinds of things to think of now for the well and the septic, and just to get anything going under it that we want under it before we start building on it. After that, it'd be near impossible. We'd have to go around it. So that's the plan that's coming up. Maybe tomorrow might have to get rid of the box scraper and go over to the backhoe. You know, I don't like doing that very much. All right, guys, I am calling it a day. You know, the good thing about working for yourself is you don't always have to work 8 hours. Yeah, I don't know. I had a little bit of an off day, and I still got some things done. The wind bothered me all day. I didn't really much care for the wind. I got cut up by the fencing wire pretty good a couple of times. You know, I guess we all have off days a little bit, and luckily when you're doing your own work, you can hang it up a little bit early. So I'm gonna go ahead and head home. I'll talk to you guys next time I'm out here, probably be tomorrow.